From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. On Monday, it was announced in federal court that Donald Trump's longtime attorney, Michael Cohen, had been representing three people. One of them, Donald Trump. A second one, some sleazy, I believe, congressman who paid over $1 million in hush money to a woman over a pregnancy, right? Yikes. And a third, mystery client. A mystery client. Federal Judge Kimball Wood ordered attorney Michael Cohen to reveal the identity of this mystery client in the courtroom. So the Michael Cohen's attorney wrote the name on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, gave it to the judge, and he was thinking maybe we could just keep this a secret. But there was an argument from a journalist inside of the courtroom that said, you know what, that info should be open to the public. It was basically the argument of secrets are no fun. Why don't you tell everyone? And the judge was like, well, that actually makes sense. That makes total sense. So the secret identity was revealed. It was none other than Fox News opinion host Sean Hannity. When Cohen showed up to court yesterday, it was because he wanted the judge to permit him to review and withhold certain material that was seized by the FBI in the raid. But keep in mind, he had all of the time he wanted to look at this material because that material was subpoenaed. The only reason they raided was because he didn't comply with the subpoena. So he's had plenty of time to look at the things that are in his possession. They took the stuff that you didn't want them to take. You know why you didn't want them to take it. You don't need to review it. All right? I know that might sound cruel, but that's the truth, right? Before the judge even heard this request out, she wanted the list of Cohen's clients. Cohen had no choice but to out Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity later responded with, Michael Cohen never represented me in any way. I never retained him. I never received an invoice or paid legal fees. I have occasionally had brief discussions with him about legal questions to which I wanted his input and perspective. I assume those conversations were confidential, but to be absolutely clear, they never involved any matter between me and a third party. Yet, there are documents in Cohen's office relating to Sean Hannity. Inconceivable! Hannity has, of course, been a champion of Trump's. He has had Cohen on his show many times. He's an outspoken critic of the FBI and Justice Department. If Sean Hannity had a shred of dignity, he would have been stripped of it from this. But this man is a slime ball. After the long hearing on Monday, Wood said she concluded the hearing without deciding whether to appoint a special master sought by the Cohen or permit the Justice Department's filter team, which is, I believe, a better way. Every time you hear the word taint team, it sounds kind of gross. You can replace it in your mind with filter team. It basically means the same thing. The Justice Department wants a filter team to continue its work. While federal investigators retain possession of what was seized, they still cannot look at the substance yet. Even as they're cataloging all of these papers and electronic files and other materials, they can't really read it. So basically, it's just trying to organize and account for the things that they have on hand. This is a turning point. Remember being a little kid in the winter and pressing your face up against the cold window as you watch snow flurries coming down and praying as hard as you can that enough snow falls, that there's a snow day tomorrow because you didn't do your homework and you're banking on a snow day, God, please. Well, believe it or not, something similar must have happened today. Either someone prayed so hard or someone broke down and sold their soul over it. Either way, a miracle's happened. It's tax day, and the IRS electronic system that allows Americans to submit their tax returns online has partly failed on Tuesday, complicating filings for millions of taxpayers attempting to meet the midnight deadline. The full extent of the failure could not be immediately determined. The agency is struggling to accept returns from widely used software programs such as TurboTax, Intuit, H&R Block, a bunch of them. The IRS discovered the problem early Tuesday morning and plans to attempt a hard reboot of its system in hopes of solving the problem. Fingers crossed, right? free extension, people. The agency would not punish people if their returns arrived late because of the glitches. So get on that excuse. If you failed to file your taxes on time, you need to get on this excuse. I repeat, taxpayers are not going to be penalized if this is the reason that they couldn't turn in their tax returns. Elon Musk wants to land on Mars in 2022. Now, think about this. That means freshmen starting next year, freshmen in high school that start next year will be the graduating class the year that Elon Musk thinks that we're going to land on Mars. And I trust the guy. I think the guy might be able to do it. That's crazy talk, right? Well, the Los Angeles officials said on Monday that a tentative lease agreement is going to allow SpaceX to take over a dormant building at part of the port of Los Angeles. All right. The deal is expected to be approved by the Board of Harbor Commissions today. SpaceX won't have to pay rent for this facility for more than 2 decades. It's going to get $40 million worth of rent credits for renovating and upgrading the facility, which has been vacant since 2005, so it's not like they're making a bunch of money off of it anyways. It's been 10 years since they've had somebody residing. Do you call it residing if it's somebody renting out a building in a harbor? I don't know. Since 2005, it's been empty. The big Falcon rocket is at the heart of CEO Elon Musk's plan to settle a colony of humans on Mars. Musk also has some Earth-based plans for that big Falcon rocket. He claims that he's going to be carting humans around this planet at breakneck speeds. He says that the craft is going to be able to fly people from New York to Shanghai in half an hour. That is ludicrous. That sounds like crazy talk. The deal with the Port of Los Angeles will give SpaceX up to 200,000 more square feet to work with. But the practical reason for setting up on the port is actually that the rockets, once complete, would be too large of a responsibility to transport by road, and thus must be transported by barge or ship. The new SpaceX rocket at the LA port is expected to bring 700 jobs to the area. I'm excited. I'm excited. Unless you're like Brendan Fraser and have just been pulled out of the ground in an ice block, then I'm sure you've heard that James Comey has a new book that's going to be available today. Comey was famously fired by Trump last year while he spearheaded an FBI investigation of possible collusion between Russia and Trump and their interference in the meddling of the 2016 presidential campaign. Sunday, Comey broke his silence for the first time since he testified before Congress last summer, shortly after Robert Mueller was brought on to run the special counsel. Comey spoke with ABC's News on Sunday night in an exclusive interview where he basically made no news at all. He did say that Trump is a morally unfit leader, and he admitted that Trump might have confused his pledge for honest loyalty with a pledge of loyalty. In the run-up to the book's release, the president has tweeted that Comey was a slimeball, a leaker and a liar, a terrible FBI director, and he has accused Comey and others of committing many crimes. The Republican National Committee also created a website, LionComey.com. Comey's book, A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, has been on Amazon's bestseller list for the past 4 weeks, and as of Monday morning, it's number 20 on the retailer's top notification sales. And that's available now. So pick it up, read it, make your own opinion on it. That's really the only way to do it, right? Sunday, on CBS News' Face the Nation, Nikki Haley said that sanctions against Russian companies behind the equipment related to Assad's alleged chemical weapons attack would be announced on Monday. These are reparations to punish Russia for its support of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's government's use of chemical weapons. Then Trump said, "Not so fast, Nikki Haley." Now, Trump was upset that these sanctions were being officially rolled out publicly because he was not comfortable executing them yet. Sometime after Haley's comments on CBS, the Trump administration notified the Russian embassy in Washington that the sanctions were not, in fact, coming. Wow! Mixed messages, Trumperoni. Way to completely undermine your UN ambassador, Trump. A White House official said that Haley had gotten ahead of herself and made an error that needs to be mopped up. Haley is one of the most disciplined and cautious members of the cabinet, especially when it comes to her public appearances. She regularly checks in with Trump personally to go over her planned statements before she sits for television interviews. So what's the deal? In the absence of a permanent Secretary of State, Haley has been the face of the American diplomacy, playing an especially prominent role over the past week as the Trump administration responded to the attack in Syria. President Trump put the brakes on the sanctions for now. Haley has issued no clarifying statement.